Hey guys, what is up? We just had the PlayStation 5 showcase event where we got the release date, we got the price, we got a whole bunch of trailers for upcoming games. So let's dive right into it. Welcome to Pseudo Ludo. This is a video game podcast, and we get together every week and talk about video games. I'm joined here by my friends Brian and Nick.
Hey.
Hello.
How you guys doing? Are you excited? You hyped?
I'm a bit nervous.
November 12th.
I'm a bit nervous I'm not going to get a pre-order, but, you know.
Yeah.
You got the special invite from PlayStation in your email.
Yeah, but I don't
Tim
I don't necessarily know if that guarantees anything or if it's just like a queue. I think it's just like shopping for shoes.
You got the chance though. Tim and I don't even get the chance.
Like I was on.
Are you sure? Check your promotions folder.
I did. I just checked. I've checked multiple times. I was on the Best Buy email list, and as soon as the email came up, I clicked on it, went right to the app, put it right in my cart, and it was already sold out. So it's going to be rough, and hopefully they just keep restocking these, throughout, like up until launch, which I think there's a pretty good chance. I'm not super worried about it.
I think Walmart's supposed to restock on the 22nd.
Yeah, they tweeted that or something. I mean, I'd like to play it at launch, but if it's just impossible, it's not like the end of the world if I have to wait a few days or a couple weeks, but obviously it would be very fun to get it right at midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go right into the whole thing. So we had this online conference live streamed, and it started off with a reveal of Final Fantasy 16, which has been long awaited. Apparently, I didn't know this, but this has been the longest time between announcements of a mainline Final Fantasy game, which is kind of, that's kind of interesting. So it's cool that it's a PlayStation console exclusive. It looks like it's going back to the medieval era, which is kind of rare these days for Final Fantasy as opposed to steampunk or modern day settings. And it had a lot of glimpses of like classic Final Fantasy stuff, like the chocobos and some of the summons and stuff like that. But overall, I don't know. I was kind of let down by this trailer. I think it was like it showed a little too much and not in ways that it felt like I wanted to see more. Almost like it was very busy. It was very incoherent at times. It looked a lot like Devil May Cry. What'd you guys think of this?
Yeah, I agree. It was like very long and clunky. Like it's cool obviously as like a piece of a conference because it's such a significant announcement, but it's not something that blew me away as like a player. That being said though, the only Final Fantasy game that I have played and really liked was the 7 remake. I played 15, but I wasn't a fan, so it's not like I'm exactly the target audience, but I'm willing to keep an eye out.
Yeah, and it was a huge, huge deal when they announced that. Also, I believe at a Sony press conference back in 2015. And like that, just right there, because I rewatched that one after this, that is such a better way to introduce a Final Fantasy game. Like it's playing the music nice and softly. I mean, obviously, Final Fantasy VII has the advantage of nostalgia, right? And they were playing that up for sure. But I think it was just a much better trailer overall. This game does seem like it's early in development, so hopefully it looks better as we see more. But up next, they went right into Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is, probably their biggest game coming up this fall, their biggest first-party game coming up this fall. What'd you think of this one? We actually got a gameplay demo as well, not just a trailer.
It looks awesome. I expect nothing less from Insomniac, and I hope they take some of the critiques from the first game, some of the open world syndrome, and expand the formula a little bit more. But visually, it looks great, and I'm sure it'll be very fun to play. I give the first one kind of a hard time, but at the end of the day, I really enjoyed playing it. And this will be a terrific launch title.
It was very polished, very fun. And yeah, I think they'll definitely have refined a lot of the things for this one, so I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for a story about Miles Morales, because that's just something, we haven't seen as much of in mainstream culture, pop culture. Nick, what'd you think of it?
I thought it looked awesome. I still haven't finished the first Spider-Man game. I stopped to play Ghost of Tsushima, but once I finished that, I did enjoy it a lot, and I'm predicting I will enjoy this as well. Do we want to talk about the little bit of a controversy?
No, we'll get towards all that stuff at the end. We'll just follow the conference first, I think.
All right.
Let's don't rain on everybody's parade just yet. Okay.
Good news first.
Let's have some fun.
Bad news later.
Yeah, that's right. So Speaking of bad news, so we got the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. This has been a long rumored Hogwarts RPG, which, I mean, it looks cool. It's like a cool looking trailer, and it's like what I definitely would have wanted in 2007.
Jeez.
But now it's like, it's very, past the prime of Harry Potter. I'm sure it's still going to be, very popular, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking more of it out. I'm not exactly sure. I kind of got like an MMO slash games as a service vibe from it, which it seems like the route that a lot of Warner Brothers games are trying to implement in some way. So that's kind of unfortunate, especially, having just seen that with the Gotham Knights game as well. But what'd you think of that?
I thought it looked awesome.
Yeah, it's something that looks really cool, but I am hesitant to see how the gameplay and all that kind of falls out, because I believe they've since said Suicide Squad and Batman or Gotham Knights are not games as a service, but I don't know, I'm not buying it. I think you're right that a lot of their output going forward is going to be that model to try and get as much microtransactions as possible, which I am not interested in.
I've seen even I think they've said that in like stockholder meetings, stuff like that, where they've said like their goal going forward is to try and implement as much online interaction as possible, stuff like that. Which, that's not really the messaging they're gonna put on display in a PlayStation trailer, but that's kind of where you see the real goals they have in mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, nonetheless, it what we saw, it did look awesome, and I love Harry Potter in general, so
it's
also could be very cool.
It's also a cool reveal piece for a showcase, just because it's like a big name and it has been rumored for so long. So from like a business perspective, it's a pretty good decision, I think, from Sony's.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick for Sony.
I haven't liked the Harry Potter movie since 4, so I'm a little past the prime, I guess, for my Harry Potter.
You haven't liked
fandom.
them or watched them?
Liked them. I mean, I've watched.
Interesting.
Well, Nick, there was a little thing called the books. I don't know if you heard of those, but
Yeah,
Wait,
I finished after 4 too.
What's your critique with 5 through 7 or 5 through 8?
I don't know. They just don't feel like
too dark and gritty.
I guess, but like not even in a good way.
So up next, we got the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War
Jeez.
campaign gameplay reveal, because this is a
fucking guy.
PlayStation podcast episode. This is not the Harry Potter fan cast. This is not. Yeah, so we got a trailer and we also got gameplay, kind of both, I guess, for the Black Ops Cold War campaign. I think this is just your standard, Call of Duty fare. It seems like they're partnering up with PlayStation again, which is probably a good idea for them. And I mean, it looks awesome, as they always do. Looks super realistic. We saw a very cool airplane set piece. What'd you guys think of that?
I think like these always kind of look the same in the demos, which is kind of funny, but I most of the time I enjoy these campaigns more so back in the day than the recent ones, but I'll definitely play it at some point. And it does look very stylish and cinematic, and there's some sort of nostalgia from seeing these old Black Ops characters back in action.
Yeah, I'm a big Black Ops fan from back in the day.
Also, the multiplayer, did you want to comment on that?
Oh, I don't know. I must have been zoning out I didn't see much multiplayer.
Oh, they didn't show any, but they said that the PS4 players get exclusive access to the Cold War multiplayer alpha, which comes out tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's big news. I didn't see that.
I think everything is. I think they said that everything is going to be unlocked as well, so there won't be any issues with leveling up to use equipment.
Cool. Well, up next we saw the Resident Evil 8 Village gameplay, and this looked really cool, really creepy. I just can't get over the fact of how much they try to shoehorn the Roman numerals into the word village.
It's really
I get a kick out of it every time.
I saw something today that said that this is having issues on PS5 only because I guess the engine isn't meshing well with the hardware somehow. That's why I noticed it during the trailer that there's some like laggy, stuttery parts, and I guess that's part of the reason why.
That's weird. I'm excited for this just because the past few Resident Evil games have been some of my favorite games of their respective years. 3 is a little bit of a misstep for me, but 7 and 2 are both terrific, so I'm looking forward to this for sure. I don't really need to see any more, unless there's technical problems or something. This will definitely be a day one buy.
Are you still in on the first person, bro?
Yeah, I liked 7 a lot. 2 is definitely better from like a technical perspective, but I feel like I have very fond memories of 7 because it was my first Resident Evil game ever, and that formula is really satisfying. So playing it for the first time is really fun. And this
Nice.
continues directly that story, I'm pretty sure, which this is going to get so confusing the more of these that come out of order.
Well, up next, we got a trailer for Deathloop, which is this really cool, very aesthetically pleasing time travel-y type game.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
You're in some kind of time loop. Everything I've seen in this looks so exciting. It did get delayed outside of 2020. It was probably going to be a launch game, and now it's in Q2 2021. But I'm still super excited for this. I feel like I don't need to see anymore because it seems kind of like redundant at this point. But I get that, this conference is for a much larger audience than is generally tuning in. So
I thought they showed too much. How they like kind of explained. Well, in the trailer, they said that guy has that project, and that's the reason he's not going to be in the same place. And then you go and you mess with the project. Like, I would have liked to have been able to figure that out or experience figuring that out without having seen that. You know what I mean? Like, not it kind of telling me the best way to play that is to get him to go. I would have rather figured that out myself.
Yeah, that makes sense. This looks awesome, though.
Like an Outer Wilds type of thing where you're discovering
Yeah, kind of. Like
the solutions, yeah.
It also seems like it would kind of be like a rhythm game almost. Like, kill the first two guys, and then the third guy kills you, so you gotta, like, figure out your loop from there. Get it? Deathloop? Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah,
I wish it was coming out this year, though, because I got it in our Fantasy Critic, but...
yeah, probably is going to review pretty well, I would bet. Up next, we saw a special edition announced for Devil May Cry 5. I mean, none of us are really, like, into this game series, but that's kind of a big deal for...
Are you kidding? I'm the biggest Devil May Cry fan in the world.
You a big Dante guy?
Who's that?
Yeah, so we'll just gloss right over that one. We saw a lot of Oddsworld Soulstorm, which is a sequel in the long-running PlayStation
I still
franchise.
don't know what this game is.
Yeah,
like, what,
this is another one I did not need to see them.
this?
Yeah, I didn't need to see them doing this again. Like I get it.
Yeah. We saw like a developer interview. We saw enough. Let's just leave it at that. I'll be interested to see how that actually reviews when it comes out, because it honestly doesn't look very good to me.
Yeah, it looks weird.
It looked
technically.
like
The gameplay itself, there were like character models were just like colliding with each other and like going right through each other. It was just like, if that's what you're showing off, I don't know what you're trying to hide right now, fam. But that's okay. Up next, I got scared because there was a Five Nights at Freddys announcement, and I'm honestly surprised like this is still a thing. I didn't know this was still like an IP that people were into, but I guess that's the case. I've never really understood this whole phenomena, so I'm kind of at a loss for words. But
weren't these like iPhone
clear.
games?
Yeah, I thought they were.
I thought they were just PC games.
I don't know. I'm not qualified. I only see like the toys at Target and stuff. Like
I used to watch a YouTuber play one of them. I don't even know how many there are, or if there's
5.
Okay, so
No, I'm kidding.
oh, it shows how much I know.
Dante. You like Dante from Five Nights at Freddy's?
He's my favorite Smash Bros. Character.
Dante?
He could be in Smash. Yeah, he could be in Smash. I think
He was in
PlayStation,
PlayStation.
PS All Stars?
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah.
Good
That's
time.
why I have memories of like playing with Dante. Yeah.
Playing.
No, that was a good time. Yeah. Finally, we get to the real juicy meat of this.
Yeah, here we go.
Conference. This is what we came here for. Demon Souls gameplay reveal. Oh man, it looks so good.
God bless this brave warrior, Umbasa.
It looked incredible. So for those who don't know, this is a remake of the original Souls game developed by From Software, released in 2009 for the PS3. And now Bluepoint is working, and Sony Japan are working on a remake, and it looks awesome. It looks like super clean, like the graphics look incredible. I'm very excited to play this at launch.
Yeah, them including the "You Died" thing is absolutely terrific. Like how they showed the death screen. But yeah, this looks
didn't they?
awesome.
Did they end on that? I think they did.
No, I think they had that, and then like a little sizzle reel.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is probably going to be the best launch title of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. Nick, are you gonna pick this up? Are you going to continue?
I've
are you going to continue to be a
that stage of the process acceptance that these aren't the games for me? So
Good for
yeah,
you.
Yep.
it's okay. Yeah, good for you.
What are you gonna get at launch then?
I know I'll take the heat. Bug snacks. You kidding me?
Besides that, that's an obvious choice.
I might just play. I don't know if we want to talk about this now about how they got the PlayStation Plus collection. I might just play God of War on the PS5 instead of my PS4 version.
Nick, I got to take my hat off to you. It takes a lot for someone to just realize and admit that they're an inferior being. So good.
Yeah.
So good for you. I'm glad you've come to terms with that.
Yeah. I know I'll take a lot of heat for it, but
Nah, you're
Oh,
all
it's
right.
okay.
You're all right, kid.
Yeah, you're fine. Whatever.
thanks.
Play whatever dumb games you want. So, we saw more Fortnite. It was like we got a all black screen, and then the battle bus just shrieked into existence.
I pictured it with the TIE fighter noise.
Yeah, so this was just you're pretty much like standard now, having to tell people that don't worry, we've got the Fortnite, So that's pretty much all it was. We're getting Fortnite available at launch on PS5. I wouldn't have expected anything else, but there it is. For those of you who are worried that the biggest game of the decade might not be on.
It's on like calculators at this point. It's on everything.
It's not on iPhones.
So we did.
But,
It's not on iPhones. Yeah, good for them. So we saw the PlayStation Plus collection get announced for the PS5. So this is kind of almost like a Game Pass type thing. It is going to be added onto the PS Plus subscription, and it's basically an enticement for. It's kind of like here's this past generation in a nutshell. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
it's kinda-
here's all the goodies for. We're just including this with your PS Plus. Kind of just an enticement, like maybe you were a Microsoft fan and you don't know where to start. You got a bunch of games on Xbox, right? Or you play mostly on PC. Here's a great way to get people in the door. So I think this is a very good idea. Personally, there's not many games in this collection that I haven't already experienced. There are a few. Resident Evil 7 is one that I was going to plan on buying at some point, but now I guess I'll just wait until I get it with this, along with Persona 5. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of games coming to this. I can read through it quick. We got God of War, Bloodborne, which I really hope they patch with some better performance, but maybe they won't. Who knows? Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat 10, Uncharted 4, Ratchet & Clank, Days Gone, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, Infamous Second Son, Batman Arkham Knight, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7. So that is a huge collection, and definitely a great deal of a bunch of games to dive into if it's your first time on a PlayStation console.
You know, it's a shame that I buy games way too quickly, and the only game in that entire collection that I don't already own is Mortal Kombat, and I don't have any intention to play Mortal Kombat. But that's like such a good deal, but I'm a bum and buy games at launch.
Other than Mortal Kombat 10, the only one I haven't the only one I don't own is Final Fantasy 15. I think I have Until Dawn. Was that a PS Plus game at some point?
I don't know. That game's great though.
I don't know. I think I have that, and then The Last Guardian, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7. But yeah, a lot of good games in there, so great deal for anybody who's thinking of making the jump over to PlayStation. And then finally, we ended with, well, I guess this wouldn't really be the end, but we saw at the very end, we saw that PS5 price and release date got announced, so it is $399 for the digital edition. And if you get the one with the disc drive, it's $499. And the release date will be November 12th in the US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea, which are their biggest markets, obviously. And it'll be launching everywhere else November 19th. And then they said pre-orders will be available tomorrow, which we will get into in a second. And then they ended with one more thing, God of War Ragnarok teaser trailer, which, we didn't really actually see anything. It was kind of just the title card come up, that kind of thing. It's going to get people hyped nonetheless. Apparently it's scheduled to release sometime in 2021, which I, for one, have my doubts about that because, first of all, they didn't show anything for it. Maybe they want to, maybe they don't want to show anything so they can keep a little bit hyped up for their next state of play, that kind of thing. But, you know, I'm kind of surprised it's this far along. The God of War, it only came out in 2018. So I'm more expecting 2022. But it is kind of interesting that they were already saying it's expected to release 2021.
Yeah, unless it's like the very end of the year, I cannot see this happening. But it's it's clearly just a move to hype people up.
Yeah, definitely. And fair enough. I, for one, thought Horizon was going to be their big fall 2021 game, but based on how they've been talking about it, it seems like maybe we might be getting it earlier than we thought.
That'll probably be spring.
Yeah, I mean, so now I guess we can move on into some of the other things that we saw.
I just want to say one thing.
Yeah, what do you want to say?
I absolutely hate how any and everything that has to do with any form of mythology is automatically named Ragnarok. Come up with a more original name.
Like what?
I don't know, but there's so many things named Ragnarok. Just get over it.
Like what? There's only Thor Ragnarok.
Thor. Doesn't Fortnite have a Ragnarok like event?
I think there was a skin named Ragnarok. That's not really named.
I don't know, man. It just seems too common. Get out of here. Find something else.
We got one example so far on the list.
This, Thor.
Yep. You named your first example again.
Nah, he makes good points, Murph.
I do make good points.
What do you guys think about this price and release date? How you feel about that? I'm pretty pleased.
Yeah, definitely good. I'm still not sure which one I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I think
tough.
the whole pre-order stuff makes it a little more difficult too, because when I was clicking around desperately last night trying to catch a pre-order somewhere, I would see, the disc drive was available sometimes, but I was trying to get the digital drive ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely going to go for the digital if I can. But, I mean, like I was saying earlier, it might make more sense. I could totally see them not producing as many digital editions right away and producing more physical editions to kind of just make a little bit more money at the start, where they know everyone's just going to be buying it, and selling out. And then kind of produce more digital editions later. I wouldn't be surprised. I think overall the digital edition is going to sell way more, but maybe not in the first month. But who's to know? It's all very murky right now. Things are definitely going to shake out in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get a pre-order tomorrow. We'll see. Stay tuned.
November 12th. What do you think of that?
It's fine. I was predicting... Did anyone have this in our predictions thing? Because I did the 20th.
I'm not sure.
I think this is a Thursday, so I don't think anybody would have picked that.
So that's cool. And we got a PlayStation blog post come up right after the conference that kind of detailed a few more things. It kind of just it summarized a lot of the stuff. One thing notable here is it confirmed game prices are going to be $10 more expensive, generally speaking, this next generation. So most of these games are going to be $69.99. What is it? I think Miles Morales is going to be $50, but otherwise they're all going to be in the 70s. Which, I know a lot of people, don't like that, and it's understandable. It's an expensive hobby, and we're all going to want to save money where we can. Personally, it's understandable because games have been $60 for 20 years, and eventually, $60 back then was not worth what $60 is now. It just isn't. The buying power of the dollar has, changed. That's what inflation is. So, games are technically cheaper than they used to be. I understand minimum wage hasn't gone up either. So, it's a complex situation. But overall, it's not going to be the end of the world for me. Games go on sale so fast these days. There's too many games to play. So, it's really, if anything, maybe I'll buy less games, and that'd be a good thing.
This is also a reason that I think getting the disc version would be beneficial. Maybe try to pick up some used disc games or something.
Yeah, that's something I could see being a big problem, that the sales just stop happening on the PlayStation Store, because most people have digital anyways, so they'll make way more money. Which is like crazy high IQ play if that was what their intention was.
Oh, I think they're losing money because a disk drive is not worth $100. They are forfeiting the money up front to secure that later on, where they can kind of monopolize the marketplace of all the games they sell. They get to 30% automatically. They don't have to share with retailers. They don't have to do any of that.
I think this just convinced me to stay on the side of the discs officially.
Yeah, and then obviously they've been secretly like low-key competing with these physical retailers for a while by having all these competitive sales on their digital ecosystem to kind of try and kill the secondhand game industry, which is for the most part worked. Like GameStop is going under. And I think once that happens, they have done that, you will see less sales. You'll see less competitive pricing. One counterpoint is that Steam has always had great sales, even when there was basically no competition. I mean, Epic only just has recently arisen as kind of a Steam competitor. But Steam has been known for insane sales for a very long time. Not that that's a one-to-one comparison, but I don't know. It's a lot of things worth considering here. The main takeaway is there's nothing we can really do about it. So I guess whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards disc, but I don't know.
Yeah, and being able to play Blu-rays is a nice bonus.
Yeah, it's more like the option. Like I feel like I'm still going to predominantly buy digital just because it's more convenient.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
You want what you can't have, you know. I will say the digital looks much better in terms of like if you're looking at it head on, it's just much more symmetrical. I really am baffled. I don't know why they put the disc drive in that location, but alas,
maybe to get you to not buy it.
Maybe. So we also got some pricing on the DualSense, which is going to cost $70. I believe the Joy-Cons are $80, so this is actually cheaper than I expected. I was expecting their next gen controller to be $80 with the whole, you know, all the features that they've added, haptic feedback and whatnot. So I think this is pretty competitive pricing. It is kind of a shame, you know, like $60 is already a lot for a controller, but generally these are pretty good quality. They're not like the Joy-Cons, which are $80 and have Joy-Con drift. I generally haven't had much problem with my PlayStation controllers, at least the ones that I've gotten post-college after, you know, my other ones got beat up from from all those, like, you know, couch co-op games and stuff. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's as cheap as it is, definitely. But I'm glad. Yeah. And hopefully they have cool colors, but I'm sure that'll be later.
PlayStation blog post at some point in the coming weeks or months. And then we also got Pulse 3D wireless headset is going to be $99. The HD camera is going to be $60. The media remote, which I might pick one of these up at some point. So you can actually watch movies and Netflix, whatever, without using your controller. I think that's like a great idea. That's going to be $30. Kind of a little on the pricey side for that, but maybe it'll go down over time. And then you can buy a charging station for $30 as well.
I think pre-order... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think the pre-orders for all that might still be up.
Yeah, I saw you could pre-order the controller still. But it's like, I'm not going to, you know, if one comes packed in with the console, I'm not going to need another one right away.
Yeah.
We also got some launch day games confirmed, which they didn't confirm during the actual conference itself, which is very odd. So Astro's Playroom, made by Studio Japan, is going to be pre-installed on the PS5, which is what we figured. Demon Souls is coming out on launch. Destruction All-Stars is coming out on launch. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming out at launch. And Sackboy: A Big Adventure is coming out at launch.
Yeah, Sackboy's gotten...
And that game... Oh, go ahead.
Sackboy's gotten completely swept under the rug. I don't know what that's about. Must not be good.
Must not, yeah. We didn't see much of that at all. I think it was in like the highlight reel at the end, but...
They showed Oddworld again instead of that.
That is a good point.
And this is going to be a launch title, so it's probably... I mean, Little Big Planet 3 had a lot of problems technically, and it's the same developer, so...
It's also worth noting that this game is priced at $59.99 as opposed to the $69.99 of most of these games.
It's a weird.
Yeah,
just $10.
it's weird. It's weird because it's not $49.99 like Miles Morales, so it's like somewhere in between. I don't know. I think I'd rather pay $50 for Spider-Man than $60 for Sackboy, but
that game.
just me.
You mean that game has more content than Spider-Man?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, and we got the specs, all that kind of stuff. It's going to have 825 gigabytes of storage, which I think is kind of on the low side. I was expecting 1 terabyte. I mean, 2 terabytes would have been nice at this point, especially with the all digital edition. It'd be nice if they offered ways to upgrade your storage, like kind of like a modular way, if you could pop it open or something and, have a bigger hard drive installed. That would be really nice.
Did they confirm that you can't do that?
They didn't confirm that, but I'm guessing you
it's
can't do
likely
that.
not.
Yeah. So
What
I
about
guess we'll have to wait for...
What about external?
I would imagine they'd have an external hard drive the same way, but I don't know. I've got 2.5 terabytes on my PC right now, and
Wow.
it didn't cost like the 1 terabyte hard drive. It was only $10 more or $15 more to get the 2 terabyte hard drive. So I don't know. I don't really see the. I mean, this is like a high quality SSD that they're working with, so it's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a disappointment. That's going to be like one Call of Duty game and then a couple other games.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird choice. I'd imagine there has to be a reason behind it, but seems like a little bit of a step backwards, but at least for now.
It's a weird number in general. It's not a nice round, like 1 terabyte or 800 or 850. It's like 825. And that's going to be way less because you have all the software pre-installed on that, so... Hopefully you can delete Astro's Playroom when you're done with it, because I really don't want that pre-installed. Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully Hopefully you have to beat a level of Astro's Playroom to even turn your PS5 on. You have to
really
walk
hard.
it's like you have to walk the power cord to the plug every time or something.
Every time.
But it's procedurally generated, so you don't get good at it. So and then the shot heard around the world. Walmart, for some really weird reason, tweeted out maybe an hour or two after the press conference, maybe like 2.5 hours after the press conference, they said, "Make you wait for the new PlayStation 5." Nah, that's not like us. Go on, pre-order it in all caps now, and then like a link to pre-order, and it's sold out within like less than a minute. In a reaction to that, all the other retailers suddenly are like, "Oh, like pre-order now, okay," and they put all their pre-orders up. So this whole plan of like PS5, like, oh, pre-orders tomorrow, we're gonna email you to have the first chance to pre-order. Like, nah, like GameStop's site crashed, Target sold out, Best Buy sold out. I was on all their websites trying to grab one, did not work. I think I still have one in my Best Buy cart, and it's just not letting me do anything with it. So yeah, and you can also, there's a few thousand of them up on eBay now, going for a nice hefty price.
Yeah,
those bots
annoying.
come in clutch. I just want to talk. Why is this still a thing?
Is there not a CAPTCHA to stop you?
No, like that's what I'm saying. Is like just have a CAPTCHA, have 2 CAPTCHAs, maybe call and place your pre-orders. Right? Am I crazy? I would say if there weren't bots, there would still have been pre-orders for the first half hour at least, maybe an hour. The bots snag everything before you even have time to load the link.
Do CAPTCHAs even do anything?
Well, yeah, you can have any kind of authentication, like type in Best Buy and something, something like that. Just anything to.
What, they don't have anything?
Well, I know
They
bots
probably
can
have
do
something.
CAPTCHAs. There should be some kind of like better authentication though. There's
Yeah,
no
but
way.
don't they have limits of how many you can get per customer?
No, someone said they bought 30 from Target.
What?
Jesus.
So
Christ.
That's just like mean. Like what's the deal with that?
yeah, it's wild. You would think so. Like that's what I'm saying is you'd think they'd limit how much you could buy, right? Especially they're supposed to do that. I think I don't think that's supposed to happen, but someone was able to get 30. They should have some kind of like better verification to make sure you're not a bot. How about call? Just call. Pre-order over the phone.
Then you get one of those calls that you always get, and your car has extended warranty.
Bro, I got one of
I
those
get that.
today.
I just had one today.
Except it's gonna be, can I order a PlayStation 5?
I got one of those today. I get them like fairly often.
If you want to hear something even funnier, somebody tweeted at Walmart and said it would appear Walmart's website. Actually, they didn't even tweet at Walmart. They just tweeted, it would appear Walmart's website has sold out of PS5s already, though. So this was like, right after it happened, right? Walmart responded, clearly Walmart doesn't have just one social media person. That would not make sense. But the same Walmart account responded and said, the PS5 pre-order don't actually open up until midnight, smiley face. This was at 11:11 p.m., which was hours after it had already sold out. So that is absolutely fantastic.
That is great.
Love to see that they are just completely like pretending that didn't happen. So I would imagine Sony's probably pretty mad about that, and people are very mad at Sony as well. It's a very confusing thing, and I think just the limited stock because of the virus is only making things worse. But I'm sure in response to this, they're going to be cranking out as many as they can until launch, because they did sell out under 60 seconds, it seems, on almost every site, which is a great sign if you're the one selling them, right? I mean, that's exactly what you want, is all this. You want it to be hard to find. You want people to be scalping it for thousands of dollars. It's like, that's what you want to see. You want to see that kind of demand.
When you guys went on the GameStop website, did it say you were banned?
Yeah, and it said something like they were like, they started blocking people at a certain point. I don't know.
Mine just said I was banned.
They probably
from
need to.
on the site.
Really weird overall. And then we also afterwards got confirmation from Sony that a few of their games, it was some press statement, but they basically said like, oh, to ensure that all the people who aren't getting a PS5 right away don't miss out, we're going to make all our launch games available on PS4, which is a direct contradiction to what's been reported for the past 2020 calendar year, where they've had this whole narrative of, oh, we believe in console generations. We want there to be, a jumping off point. We want people to get excited about the next generation. We want technology to increase. We don't want to hold back games just for, a 7-year-old console to be able to run them. So this is actually very confusing, and it seems like actually pretty dishonest that they kind of drummed up this kind of false, basically talking points in direct contrast to what Microsoft had been saying. It almost seems like it was done only for dunking on Microsoft for that time period, without actually, being like, is this really what we're doing or no? Yeah, I don't know. What'd you think about that? So Horizon is going to be available on PS4. Miles Morales will be on PS4. All this. I think it's a little concerning, personally. Just from a dishonesty standpoint, I see why they're doing it. The PS4 sold over 100 million units, so you would, why wouldn't you want to be able to still sell to some of those people? But it is kind of just the transparency thing that's a little annoying.
Do you have the list of which games were included in this?
I don't know if there was a direct list.
Is
I
Demon
didn't
Souls?
see it on hand. I think Demon Souls would be then. I think it's going to be everything up till a certain cutoff point, but definitely the launch games.
This
That
sucks.
is really
'Cause
weird.
I was reading something earlier, and it was saying that people were told that there was no flying rides in Horizon because the PS4 couldn't support that. And now there still probably won't be flying rides because it's going to be on PS4 still.
Yeah, I saw that with the flying mounts and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're preventing the jump in the game itself by sticking around for PS4 sales. It makes sense financially, but not as a fan.
Right. Yeah, it does make sense financially, and if they had said that from the beginning, I think that would have been a little bit more understandable. But since they didn't do that, it's a little bit more not cool, I think. Yeah, it is annoying because you do want to see that next gen jump, and you want to see games designed for those capabilities. Obviously, it's very much like computers where you can up-res, down-res pretty easily. So just like how a cheaper computer can run a game that a higher computer can run way more, to look way better, it is different for consoles because the people making the PC parts aren't developing the games. People usually develop games with consoles in mind. with some exceptions. And specifically Sony with their first party does try to design games to utilize like the new parts of the console. So we would want to see games that utilize this SSD, that utilize ray tracing, stuff like that.
Is it thinking about Horizon again? Is this gonna? You've been touting your new controller, saying that it's gonna feel like drawing back a bowstring, but it's still gonna be on PS4. Is it gonna have any effect on the gameplay?
Right.
Still.
Yeah, it does raise a question about like, okay, is this next gen jump justified yet? If you're still able to run these games on a console that launched in 2013, there's also going to be obviously questions about performance. Is it going to be able to run well on a PS4? Are we only paying $500 to get prettier graphics, but not actually more power or better game design? Because this whole year we've been getting articles. Mark Cerny talks, stuff like that, where, the SSD is going to like change the way we design our games. Like suddenly, we don't need to design loading points in games, right? Everything can be way more open. Like those corridors in God of War where you're, and so many other games where you're ducking under stuff and like sliding through a crack in the wall. That's clearly a hidden load screen and it won't need to exist anymore. And I think that's a direct example of, okay, so this is going to exist in Horizon. Like Aloy's going to have to climb through something to load the next instance up because this game will have to run on the PS4. So suddenly the map is not going to be designed in a way that utilizes the full power of this console. And that's a little bit of a disappointment. It kind of kills the hype a little bit for wanting that next-gen experience right away. Obviously, we're going to get that at some point. They're not going to do this forever, probably after the first year. And like we were saying, like probably by God of War, we're going to be seeing like actual jumps. But it is kind of a disappointment. It's like kind of ruins the fun of it. It's like if it's going to be the same experience on my PS4, but maybe upscale a little better, I don't know. It's not as exciting.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's very disheartening, and it does seem pretty shaky ethically, or like business ethics. Like, it's weird that they would do this, A, at all, B, in such a under-the-table kind of way. Like, not at all during the conference, just, like, through tweets after the fact is really cowardly.
Yeah, and shout out retroactively to Microsoft because they are doing the exact same thing, but they were very upfront about it at the very beginning of this whole news cycle. And I remember, like, we were talking about it on the podcast. We were criticizing them. We were saying, like, this is dumb. We don't want you to do this. Like, why? What's the reason for getting an Xbox now? It seems like Sony had the exact same plan, but Microsoft was just the one to talk about it. And Sony was like, basically, nah, like, that sucks. That's stupid. We believe in generations. Like, in response to that, when evidently they were planning they had the exact same, dollar signs on their eyes of that 100+ million user install base of the PS4. So, definitely would have appreciated some more transparency there. Shout out to Microsoft. I think, not that we owe a corporation an apology, but I think we were a little harder on them when it seems like, Sony will be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
But, yeah, kind of a bummer to end this conference on because it was a super good conference, I think. Super, super exciting. I was excited by everything I saw. Demon's Souls looks great. Spiderman looks great. Well, I'm sure we'll see Horizon pretty soon. After the launch, I'm sure they'll want to show more around December, get people hyped for that. Any final thoughts, guys?
I agree mostly with what you summarized as, like, the conference itself was great. Some of this secondary information was a little concerning and disappointing, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna get a PS5. But they definitely kind of put some reasons on my plate to not, which I never would have expected, you know what I mean? Like, all the games that I'm so excited about are if they're also all going to be on PS4, like, is there any reason to get the PS5 at launch except for hype? I don't know, but overall, it's definitely good.
Yeah, and couple that with them being very unclear about how they're running these pre-orders and how this is all happening. It's making it very not conducive to getting people excited for pre-ordering the console. You got to make it easy for people to spend money. If you make it too hard, you're gonna lose sales. But I'm not worried about PS5 at all. I'm still very excited, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of great things are on the horizon.
Pun intended.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Nicholas,
Timothy,
where may they where may they find us next week and every week here at Pseudo Ludo?
They may find us on Twitter at PseudoLudoCast. They may find us on Instagram at PseudoLudoPod, and they can find our podcast on YouTube as well.
All right, very good. Very, very good. Well, I'll see you boys later. Have a good night.
Good night.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.